Violently.
Kathleen shook her head violently.
Overcome.
And each time we overcame those fears.
Reside.
I reside here in New York.
Motion.
Show it to us one more time in slow motion.
Inevitably.
Humans inevitably die.
Frustrate.
Well, it frustrates me when you'd rather hide than fight.
Addict.
You are a drug addict.
Distract.
Maura Soto decided to distract herself by baking.
Bias.
I want you to review the evidence, honestly and without bias.
Muse.
He mused. For 10 minutes he held counsel with himself.
Represent.
I'm not supposed to represent the company, right?
Device.
If Rick calls, this device is going to trace his location.
Dehumanize.
Voldemort has deliberately dehumanized himself.
Submarine.
In September 1941, a German submarine fired at an American ship.
Domestic.
Are you from a domestic flight or an international one?
Spontaneously.
Nothing bloomed spontaneously on that soil.
Succession.
She's the world champion for the 3rd year in succession.
Proportion.
Ebola affects a very small proportion of the population.
Impulse.
You must learn to control that impulse.
Theoretical.
I'm a theoretical physicist.
Insecure.
I know how it is to feel insecure about your looks.
Authority.
She has no respect for my authority, Margaret.
Virtual.
They move in virtual silence.
Bulb.
We attach a light bulb to a lamp.
Relativity.
In 1915, Einstein published the theory of general relativity.
Constitution.
The Constitution, he added, is the first law of the land.
Credible.
You're not a credible witness.
Sage.
A scented candle? It smells like sage.
Fury.
Lady Elisha's face was flushed with fury.
Convert.
This water heater converts cold water into hot.
Psychic.
They were looking for people with psychic abilities.
Millennium.
What's going to happen tomorrow, next year, or even a millennium from now?
Hemisphere.
It's now late January, and the Northern Hemisphere is locked in winter.
Hamper.
Rescue teams were hampered by ice-covered mountain roads.
Precious.
Time is precious.
Lavish.
In ancient times, the Romans showed off their wealth with lavish banquets.
Cognitive.
You don't need high levels of cognitive function for a simple job.
Justification.
But there is never any justification for violence.
Eccentric. She's not crazy, she's a little eccentric.
Materialist.
You want to make him into a gross materialist when he's living in the spiritual world.
Naive.
I may be naive, but I'm not stupid.
Damage.
The accident caused serious damage.
Occurrence.
For kids like me, being called childish can be a frequent occurrence.
Provoke.
Rarely has a decision provoked such controversy.
Refugee.
Most of the refugees were from Syria.
Motivate.
They are 100% motivated by fear.
Fluent.
I'm fluent in Ukrainian.
Forecaster.
Forecasters say the rain is expected to continue through Saturday.
Wholesale.
The wholesale price is usually a cheaper price.
Caution.
I thought caution was a virtue.
Coastal.
Just south of Chongming Island lies China's largest coastal city, Shanghai.
Swallow.
And don't ever swallow pool water.
Sacrifice.
We all have to make sacrifices for the job.
Reduce.
So we want to reduce your stress.
Fantasy.
Now I just had to take my fantasy and turn it into reality.
Periodic.
People here are accustomed to periodic eruptions.
Grieve.
My son is dead. I'm grieving.
Occasional.
Have an occasional drink.
Heritage.
This is our cultural heritage that we want to preserve.
Tropical.
Each year, these powerful tropical storms form over the huge ocean.
Consolation.
My only consolation was that next year would be different.
Agency.
He owns a travel agency.
Heel.
You have a heel on your foot, and a shoe also has a heel.
Appeal.
The roof is filled with green life that appeals to insects.
Moderate.
Most patients experience only mild or moderate sickness.
Desperately.
No! I cried desperately.
Appointment.
Hey, is Rachel here? We have a doctor's appointment.
Depict.
The oldest paintings depict plants and animals.
Pastime.
Shopping became a favorite pastime.
Rhetorical.
Well, I hope that's a rhetorical question because I have no clue.
Diversify.
To my delight, our cooperation has continued to diversify.
Partially.
But this guy is partially responsible for a murder, right?
Chronology.
All of these events were placed into a detailed chronology.
Haste.
Mr. Fields, never make a plan in haste.
Contemplate.
I was just contemplating the one mystery that not even I can solve.
Terminate.
I terminated that contract this afternoon.
Arrogance.
I tire of your arrogance, old man.
Uniquely.
But Mr. Dudley's book is uniquely comprehensive.
Suspicious.
I'm very suspicious of people.
Species.
96% of animal species have eyes.
Outwit.
Each side, to survive, must outwit and outmaneuver the other.
Grind.
Millstones grind up cereals into powders.
Numerous.
These are the most numerous birds on Earth.
Enthusiastically.
Excellent, said Ron enthusiastically.
Wretched.
It's impossible to leave him in that wretched hole.
Remind.
Remind me to send flowers.
Daze.
They were behaving like they were in a daze, confused.
Rejection.
Sweetie, I know how rejection can be so painful.
Stockbroker.
And then the stock brokerage or the stockbrokers, they buy and sell the stock.
Glamorous.
Being on TV isn't as glamorous and exciting as you think.
Appearance.
Do not judge things by their appearance.
Horrify.
And I was horrified by the results.
Penetrate.
The bullet only penetrated a few millimeters.
Sake. You need to listen to me for your own sake.
Converge.
But when two paths converge, intentionally or not, they don't always continue on together.
Recur.
Amelia, he's right. The tumor could recur anyway.
Accountant.
He's an accountant. Helps people with their taxes, that sort of thing.
Canvas.
And of course he wears the sailing shoes made of canvas.
Dinosaur.
Dinosaurs ruled the earth for millions of years.
Anonymous.
Does his friend have a name?
He wants to remain anonymous.